Julie Williams and Lolly Winans. On May 19, 1996, 24-year-old Julie Williams and 26-year-old Laura Lolly Winans set off on a hiking trip in Shenandoah National Park, located in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Northern Virginia. In the company of the couple's golden retriever, Tash, the two women were celebrating Lolly's new job, which she planned to start on June 1st. But by May 31st, neither woman had been seen or heard from. The pair had not returned from their celebratory trip, and so Julie's father reported his daughter missing. Before long, a search by park rangers was underway. They located the couple's car just north of Skyland Lodge and eventually stumbled across Taj, who was unleashed and wandering around the park. The following evening, the two women were found. Their bodies were still at their campsite on Bridle Trail. Their throats had been slashed. Although the area around their campsite was busy, they likely went unnoticed because they were off the trail. Backcountry regulations at the time stated that backpackers had to camp away from trails, fire roads, and developed areas. Investigators put together a vague timeline of the couple's last movements using their camera. Photos indicated that they'd arrived at the park on May 19th and headed into the woods on White Oak Canyon Trail, before emerging from the area days later. They then hitched a ride with a park ranger where they renewed their camping permit before setting out again. After climbing Hawksbill, the highest mountain in the park, they set up camp near the Appalachian Trail. Shortly after this, they were viciously and fatally attacked. The investigation into Lolly's and Julie's deaths stalled shortly after began. It wasn't until July of 1997 that some movement was finally made, when a Canadian tourist named Yvonne Malbasha was forced off the road and off her bike by a man driving a truck. The man, identified later as Daryl David Rice, was furious as he attempted to force her inside his truck and screamed sexual profanities at her. Yvonne managed to hide amongst the trees as Rice attempted to run her over, but he eventually gave up and drove off. When his truck was later searched, hand and leg restraints were found inside. In 1997, Rice was a single man living in Columbia, Maryland with no children. He had no criminal history, but had been fired from his job at Maryland's MCI System House 1 month before Yvonne's attack due to his aggressive behavior. Rice was known to yell abuse and sexual profanities at his coworkers, steal their lunches, bump into them so they'd spill hot drinks, and even once punched a hole in the wall of the men's bathroom. After the attempted assault on Yvonne in 1998, pled guilty after he was charged with attempted abduction. He was given 11 years in prison. Subsequent interviews law enforcement conducted with Rice led them to believe he may have been responsible for the murder of Lolly and Julie. He obviously knew the park, exhibited predatory violent behavior towards women, and reportedly even said that Julie and Lolly deserved to die because they were lesbians. Furthermore, had been caught on CCTV entering the park on May 25th and again on May 26th, although he denied being in the area on those days. He was also seen returning once more on June 1st with two friends. He admitted to being at the park on this day. In April of 2001, Rice was charged with the murder of Lolly and Julie, but a lack of forensic evidence was prevalent in the case. In 2003, a hair found at the crime scene was tested. It was not a match to Rice or the victims. In 2004, the charges against Rice were dismissed without prejudice, meaning he could be charged at a later date. Rice was released from prison in 2011, and nobody has been charged with Julie and Lolly's murders. Deidre Enright, the founder and director of the Innocence Project at the University of the Virginia School of Law, who was part of Rice's defense team back in the early noughties, has put forward another suspect, serial killer Richard Evenitz. Evenitz had been convicted of indecent exposure in 1987 and was known to have ducked and molest victims. His victims included 16-year-old Sophia Silver, who vanished from Spotsylvania County, Virginia on September 9, 1996, 15-year-old Kristen Lisk and her 12-year-old sister, Katie, who disappeared from their front garden on September 1, 1997, and 15-year-old Cara Robinson Chamberlain, who vanished from her friend's garden on June 24, 2002, from Columbia, South Carolina. Cara managed to escape Evenitz and identify him. Evenitz subsequently fled the state and killed himself as law enforcement surrounded him in Florida. Evenitz has never been connected to the case, and investigators have yet to compare his DNA with that which was recovered from the crime scene. So far, the case remains unsolved. Laura Lolly Winans, 26, and her partner, Julie Williams, 24, were last seen on May 24, 1996, in Shenandoah National Park, Virginia. They were found dead on June 1st. Lolly is described as a white woman with a height of 5'8" and a weight of 160 pounds, while Julie is described as a white woman with brown, medium-length hair. She was 5'9" and weighed 125 pounds at the time of her death. If you have any information about their case, you can contact the FBI Richmond Division at 804-261-1044. Alternatively, you can submit an anonymous tip online at tips.fbi.gov. And there you have the facts. Please leave a comment down below with your own theories and speculations. And remember to like this video and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching. Stay alert, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.